Hello students, this is continuation to the previous lecture where we are seeing about the second normal form. What is the rule to transform first normal form into second normal form? A relation that is in first normal form and every non-primary key attribute is fully functionally dependent on the primary key. It means to transform any table into second normal form, first it should be in the first normal form. And then we have to remove partial functional dependencies. Partial functional dependency means all the non-primary key attributes which are on right hand side of the functional dependency are not fully functionally depending on the determinants, left hand side attributes. Let us see this clearly with our example table. Let us see with the example table, client rental. So this is the table we have transformed into first normal form. This is already in first normal form. Now we have to convert this table into second normal form. And in this table, we have two primary keys, that is client number, property number. We have identified in the first normal form itself. Those are two primary keys we have, client number and property number. And if we identify the functional dependencies for this table, one functional dependency is like CNAME attribute, that means client name attribute, partially dependent on the primary key. In other words, on only the client number. That means to know the client name, only client number is enough. No need to depend on property number. So this is called as partial functional dependency. That is CNAME partially depending on one of the primary keys, that is only on client number, not on property number. So that is one partial functional dependency we identified like this. This is FD2. CNAME is depending on only client number. And the next partial dependency is the property attributes P address, rent, owner number, owner name are partially dependent on the primary key, that is on only the property number attribute. What it means, if you know the property number, you can know the values P address, rent, owner number and owner name. So that is another partial dependency identified. That is non-key attributes means right hand side attributes in functional dependencies are depending on only one primary key from composite keys. It is called partial functional dependency. These are the two partial functional dependencies which we identified. But the property rented attributes, rent start and rent finish, are fully functionally dependent on the whole primary key, that is the client number and property number attributes. That is, to know rent start and rent finish, we have to know both the values, client number and property number values. If we know both the values, then only we can identify these values, rent start and rent finish. So this is called as fully functional dependent. This is non-key attributes, non-primary key attributes are depending on both the primary keys. That is called as functionally dependence. Fully functionally dependency. So that is okay. Therefore, as we are having partial dependencies within the client rental table indicates that the relation is not in second normal form. So, to transform the client rental table into second normal form requires the creation of new relations called client rental and property owner as shown like this. So, to remove these partial functional dependencies from this client rental table, what we have done here, we have divided that larger table, client rental table, into 3 smaller tables. Into 3 smaller tables like this. That is client rental and property owner as shown like this. So we have done here decomposed, that is divided our table, that each partial dependency as separate table, and full functional dependency also separated and named as rental. This is rent start, rent finish is depending on both client number and property number. So we have separated that as separate table and we named that as rental. And we have separated that partial functional dependency which we identified, client number, CNAME. So that as one separate table and named as client, and the other functional dependency which we identified, that P address, rent, owner number, owner name on property number. So we made that and we separated that as a small table and named as property owner. Now these 3 relations are in second normal form, as every non-primary key attribute is fully functionally dependent on the primary key of the relation. In client table, CNAME non-key attribute is depending on client number primary key, that is fully. In rental table, rent start, rent finish non-key attributes fully functionally depending on both the primary keys, client number, property number. In property owner table, P address, rent, owner number, owner name non-key attributes fully functionally dependent on single primary key called property number. So, all the 3 tables are in second normal form. So, we have removed all the partial functional dependencies by dividing our table into smaller relations, smaller tables. Now, let us see about third normal form. Although second normal form relations have less redundancy than those in first normal form, they may still suffer from update anomalies, that is problems. So this is the rule to transform second normal form into third normal form, that is a relation that is in first normal form and second normal form, and in which no non-primary key attribute is transitively dependent on the primary key. It means any table to be transformed into third normal form, first it should be in first and second normal forms. And we have to remove the transitive dependencies. Let us see this with our example tables. These are the example tables we have with the second normal form, client, rental and property owner relations. If we can see these 3 tables, all the non-primary key attributes within the client rental relations, client and rental relations are functionally dependent on only their primary keys. C name non-primary key attribute depending on primary key client number. And in rental table, all non-primary key attributes rent start, rent finish, and are functionally depending on both the client number and property number primary key. So the client and rental relations have no transitive dependencies and are therefore already in third normal form. Let us recall what is transitive dependency that we have seen earlier. If you consider A, B, C are the three attributes in one table, and functional dependencies like A to B, B to C, that is A determines B and B determines C. So, automatically the attribute C is transitively depends on attribute A. This is called transitive dependency, which we have seen. That we have to remove from property owner table to transform into third normal form. Now see property owner table here, and there is transitive dependency. In what way means? You can see here all the non-primary key attributes within the property owner relation are functionally dependent on the primary key except owner name, which is transitively dependent on owner number. In other words, property number determines P address, rent, owner number. Owner number determines owner name. So it is in the form of A to B and then B to C. Property number determines P address, rent, and owner number. Owner number determines owner name. So this is like in the form of A to B, B to C. So this is called as transitive dependency that we have to remove from this property owner table. So how to remove this transitive dependency from this table? We have to divide this table. We have to decompose this property owner table into two separate tables called property for rent and owner. That means two separate tables we made. And we name for the first table property for rent, and for this table we named as owner. So in this property for rent, we have property number, P address, rent, owner number. So all these non-key attributes are depending on the single primary key property number. So no transitive dependency. So here in this smaller table owner also, owner name is depending on owner number, that is single primary key. Now the property for rent and owner relations are in third normal form, as there are no further transitive dependencies on the primary key. So finally, in summary, the client rental relation has been transformed by the process of normalization into four tables. In third normal form, first initially we transformed unnormalized form into first normal form by removing repeating groups. In second normal form, remove partial dependencies, that is all non-primary key attributes should fully functionally depend on primary keys. So we decomposed relation into three tables like client, rental, property, owner. At last, in third normal form, removed transitive dependency and decomposed property owner into two tables, property for rent and owner. So finally we have four tables with controlled and redundancy, reduced redundancy through normalization technique. So, and at last, one more point to be remembered, that is lossless join. Means if we try to join all the four tables, the original table, client table, rental table